What is going on, my YouTube friends, my Patreon friends? How we all doing today? We're gonna do a little bit of a nerdy exercise today, and I know we've got some audio nerds, I know we've got some drum nerds, and I know we definitely have some David Bendeth fans in the house. So I thought I would jumble all that together. I would show you all how I mix some drums up for our friend Fry McDunstan, and I'm gonna show you David Bendeth's new drum samples package from Drumforge, which you can get, and I'll have the link down below. And let's check this out, y'all. Let's jump into this session and see if we can make some drums sound good. So these are the drums from a previous project that Fry and I worked on together, and he's got a new project coming out. Typically, what we try to do with Fry's music is it's kind of a blend of 90s rock meets maybe Use Your Illusion, kind of forward and kind of beat the crap out of you drums. So I'm going to do my best to try to be inspired by that, not try to replicate it, right? So right now I've got, let me turn some of this off. I've got all my samples muted. And I'm also going to turn off my drum comp right now. I've got like a super compressed drum mix that's just mixed in as well, and I'll explain that after too. So let's just take a listen to these drums, just the way they sound from Glenn. These are like edited and mixed a little bit, but there's not a ton going on here. So these were recorded from our friend Glenn, who does all of Fry McDunstan's projects, all the drums on them at least. And he's got a great room. I think it's a smaller, kind of a tighter room. You don't get like a huge decay on a lot of the drums. So I do have a reverb mixed in that you're probably not hearing very much yet. Maybe a little bit on the snare drum. I typically don't put it on the natural snare drum, but let's see here. I can just check. A little bit. Nope. Nope, I don't. None at all. None at all. Let me pull it up and I gotta show you. That's a snare. Snare top. So yeah, there's nothing going on here. There's nothing going on here. I've got a tape machine, which I can show you guys. Kind of just like shaves off the top, shaves off the bottom, distorts it a little bit. I've also got the plus 10 dB compressor from David Bendeth. David Bendeth. Kind of funny how that works out. This is a sweet compressor. I really like just have it on the preset, and I kind of like the way it sounds. You can get that from Bose Digital as well. I'll have the link in the description box. They haven't sponsored your boy yet, but maybe one day. Maybe one day. So snare top. Let's mix in the snare bottoms, a little papery. So the bulk of that is actually being done from the room and the overheads. I'm going to turn the snare off, and you can just hear what the room and the overheads are doing on their own. And again, I just have a preset. I might have changed it a little bit, but probably not too much. A little bit of the low mid, it looks like I pulled out. And the compressor I just left the same way, man. Pretty sweet plugin. I really enjoy that one. So let's put in that snare drum again. This isn't the order that I normally mix either, but just for the sake of the example. You know what? Let's look at the kick drum. Let me turn these off. And y'all can hear the kick drum here. So this is kick in from the recording. This is just a gate. Yeah. So I'm trying to filter out a lot of the bleed that the kick drum was giving us already. And you can see I haven't done that much to it. A little bit of a dip, a little bit of a boost in the top end, but not a ton. This gate is just getting rid of some of those transients from the kick and the snare, a little bit of bleed. And I'm doing that before the compressor because I don't want to emphasize it and then try to take it away. Like, God knows the problems that might cause, right? So there's kick in. Let's add the kick sub. You can still hear a little bit of bleed, but it's a live drum kit. It is what it is, right? So let's go back and let's listen to this drum kit all together. This is still without samples. I might have had one of the samples on before, but now it's not without the samples for sure. Sounds pretty good. But what happens is we start losing a little bit of definition and a little bit of the excitement when you start mixing in modern guitars, modern bass, modern vocals. Jeff's a hell of a singer. Fry's a hell of a guitar player. So I thought that the kick drum might want a little bit more attack. So I grabbed one of the samples from David Bendeth. So the kick sample itself sounds like this. Lots of top end on that one. Add a little bit of weight on the bottom as well. Let's see what that sounds like. Nothing on it. Man, he recorded these well. David Bendeth, if you watch these, brother, my goodness, my goodness. So now let's hear what that sounds like in context. So this is the drum kit as we heard it before with the kick drum samples mixed in now. And they're just there to support y'all. They're not there to replace. I'm not trying to insulate against Glenn's heartbeat as a drummer. I'm just trying to fill out little bits of the spectrum where I felt like we were either like hitting it too much or covering it up too much with the rest of the mix, or maybe just because it's rock and roll and we like having big scary drums, right? So now let's start mixing in some of the snare drums. So you can hear the snare drum sample, the main one. And I do have a reverb on that one. I didn't want to put a reverb on the regular snare drum because it's already in a room. It's already got room mics, overhead mics, and I don't want to artificially change that. I want that to breathe as its own kind of entity, and anything else I'm going to do extra or on top of that, I'm going to do from the sample. So and if the snare drum sample gets pushed back from the reverb, then hey, it is what it is. It's just there to fill out some space. So that's one of the samples. I also wanted to add a little bit of like humph on the bottom of the snare drum as well. So I added in a more low endy one. And I don't think these aren't processed at all. These are just the way they are, which you could probably work on that a little bit, but that's okay. It's rock and roll. And something that a friend of mine learned from a friend of his in Nashville was a little peak. Little secret sauce on top. So this is kind of funny. This is it's a cross stick actually. It's almost like intrusive in the whole mix. So this is just the samples, right? 1, 2, 3. Yep. Let's put the kick samples in there too. It's too robotic. It's too perfect sounding, right? So that's why they're just there to support what Glenn was actually playing and actually recorded off of his drum kit. So if I unmute everything, unsolo everything, let me just make sure that's everything. Let's hear what it sounds like. So samples off. Samples on. That cross stick is funny. It's like almost intrusive. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Go check out those samples from David Bendeth. You know that I'm a big fan of Bendeth. You can check out his plugins as well from Bose Digital, which is just, I'm going to slide that one in there for fun. Check him out on the Drumforge website. You can also check out his great videos on Instagram. And let me know if there's anything else you guys want me to run through. We got a new Fry McDunstan project in the works right now, and it'll be out soon. And catch you on the next one.